I'm a simple girl. I see a release that is inspired by and I'm like, tell me more. Tell me more. Hey everyone, it's Nicole. Welcome to the channel. So I have the new Seasons of Persephone collection from Mooncat to share with you all today. So we have 9 polishes total. There's a whole variety of finishes and formulations in here, which I always appreciate. At the time of recording, all 9 polishes are currently available still on the Mooncat website. I did receive these polishes as a gift from Mooncat in PR, so thank you very much to the Mooncat team for sending this over to me. I am getting super duper close to reaching 7,000 subscribers here on the channel, so if you're watching this video and you aren't subscribed, I would greatly appreciate it if you did. I upload new videos every week on Tuesdays and Saturdays. It's a whole variety of content. We have nail polish content, we have cooking content, we have vlogs. When it's not 20 degrees out, there's gardening content. There's a whole variety of things, and I'd love to have you here on the Nicole Loves YouTube channel. But you know, I guess I mean, there is some pressure, because like I really like to hit 7,000, but there's no pressure in the sense that like I'm not gonna send my cat after you if you don't subscribe. Although that might be something people would like, but I can't promise it because I really like my cat and I don't want to send her out into the wilderness. So subscribe please. So as always, down in the description box, I will have links to where you can purchase these polishes, links to the Mooncat social media pages, my social media pages, as well as a link to my blog post on NicoleLovesNails.com, where I host all of my swatch photos as well as provide a written review, and most importantly, timestamps are in the description box as well. Let's get into this video. First up, we have Freshly Bitten, which the brand describes as a rich wine red lacquer filled with a purple to pink shifting shimmer. Freshly Bitten had a really nice formula. This is one of several colors in this release that in the bottle I was not overly impressed by, but once I got them on my nails, built them up, I was really just loving how they looked on me. The base on this is slightly on the thicker side, but I found it applied very evenly and easily for me. I'm gonna call this one a 2 to 3 coater depending on personal preference as well as your application style. When I was doing my full hand swatches, I thought coverage was passable in 2 coats, but I feel like my camera would pick it up as being like a little bit uneven, maybe a little bit patchy, so I opted to do 3 coats for my full hand swatches. This is such a pretty saturated looking polish. Like I feel like in my gut this is a potential stainer. I did not personally experience any staining with it, but I feel like I should just warn people, make sure to wear base coat with this one if your nails are prone to staining. I don't know why I convinced myself that this was going to be a dupe for Bee's Knees Lacquer Prince of Hearts. The color shifts between the two are kind of similar, but I think the overall look of the polishes are different. And now we have Love Balm, which the brand describes as a mauve lacquer filled with a violet shimmer and micro holographic glitter. If you need to know one thing about me, I will forever say how much I dislike a color, and then I will get said color on my nail when I'm swatching. I'm like, oh, I don't hate this.
Ooh, this is nice.
And I feel like mauve, however you say it, is one of those colors that I will consistently say how much I don't like it. And then I get it on my nail, I'm like, oh, this is actually really nice. Don't know if it was the shimmer that got me. I don't know if it was the delicate holographic sparkle that got me. But actually, no, I think it actually was the shimmer now that I think of it. Found the formula on this one to be fantastic, slightly on the thicker side, but very easy to apply overall. This is a more sheer polish. I did not like coverage on me in 2 coats, so my full hand swatches do show it in 3 coats. I will, however, call this one another 2 to 3 coater depending on personal preference, application style, and hell, potentially even your nail length. Like I said, the holographic in here gives you a very delicate sparkle on the nail. I honestly do wish that the holographic had a little more va-va-va-voom. However, I do also recognize, as far as nail polish goes, I'm not really big on subtle. I like very in-your-face colors and just effects. The holographic glitter used in this polish is really, really tiny and fairly sparse, so I don't anticipate this giving anyone too much difficulty on removal, even if you choose to scrub the polish off. And now we have the Trouble with Immortality, which the brand describes as a bronze metallic lacquer. This is another one of the polishes in this release that in the bottle I was kind of like, meh, it's okay, I guess. Photos, meh, it's okay, I guess. And then I saw it on my nails in person. I was like, okay, I see what they were going with here. This is beautiful. Formula-wise, I thought this was also fantastic. It's a little sheer / patchy on that first coat. This is just one of those polishes that you really do need to build it up to get the most beautiful look on the nail. First coat, patchy and sheer. Second coat, I'd say passable if you're not overly picky, but I feel like to get that true depth of that bronzy goodness on the nail, I really feel like 3 coats does this one the best justice. I don't know what kind kind of pigments Mooncat used to create this polish, but do you see the level of sparkle that I got out in natural lighting? I was just so blown away. I did not want to take this one off. I feel like the only thing that could have gotten me to like this one more than I liked it already was if the delicate holographic sparkle that was in some of the other polishes was also in this, but amped up just a little bit because we don't do delicate around here. The trouble with Immortality does dry down fairly dull, so you will definitely want top coat for a glossy finish. Removal will not be overly difficult, but it will be fairly messy if you choose to scrub this one off, so I would recommend the soak off method just so you're not covered in like flakes. And now we have Garden of Evil, which the brand describes as a green lacquer filled with a violet shimmer and micro holographic glitter. I had originally thought it was strange that we had two polishes in this release that were both green bases with a violety pinky kind of shimmer. However, seeing them in person, I don't think they're too similar to have in the same collection. Garden of Evil had a fantastic formula, again a little bit on the thicker side and also fairly sheer, so you do need to build it up to get the most opacity. I had zero issues with application. I love how strong the shimmer is in this polish. I feel like the holographic we get on the nail is a little bit more va-va-va-voom for me personally, but I think the star of the show was how color shifty this shimmer is. It's not just a violet shimmer. I was seeing red, I was seeing pink. I feel like I was seeing a hint of gold at very extreme angles as well. This is a very color shifty shimmer and I freaking love it. We'll once again call this one a 2 to 3 coater depending on personal preference. I personally feel that 3 coats is the way to go with this one to really build up the base color as well as the shimmer, but do what you want through your fingers. The glitters in here once again do not dry down textured. You still will want top coat for a nice glossy finish. It will not be overly difficult and I did not experience any staining. And now we have Petals for a Narcissist, which the brand describes as a sheer white gray lacquer filled with a violet pink shimmer. When I read that the description calls this one a sheer polish, I honestly expected it to be a lot more sheer than it ended up being. While yes, you don't really reach full opacity with it, I also don't think it's like that sheer. I guess what I consider like a sheer might be a little bit different than what the folks at Mooncat consider a sheer. Because I read the description as this being a fairly sheer polish, for my full hand swatches, I did swatch this one in 3 coats. On my ring finger, I opted to add a white visible nailing blurring base. I used the Blur Sauce from Sweet and Sour Lacquer. Honestly though, in person, I didn't really notice that big of a difference between the one nail that has a blurring base versus the other nails. I honestly like this one a lot more in 2 coats than I did in 3. The formula on this was fantastic though, slightly on the thicker side again, but easy application, no issues with it. The shimmer does also have that pinky kind of red color shift to it that some of the other violet shimmers have in this release. This is a very soft and delicate looking polish, so while it's not my personal cup of tea, I do still think it is very pretty. And now we have Devil's Ivy, which Mooncat describes as a sage green magnetic lacquer that reveals a silver magnetic stripe. Once again, we have a polish that in the bottle I was not particularly vibing with at all, and once I got this one on my nail, I was liking it a lot more. The magnetic pigment in here is super reactive. You all know I am not the most patient person in the world, so at times I feel like I struggle a little bit with magnetics just because I just don't like the concept of having to spend an additional minute on my nails to magnetize every single one. So for me personally, if I can't magnetize something in about 30 seconds, then I don't want it.
God, I hate waiting.
And thankfully, this one magnetized really nicely for me in 30 seconds. I used a ring magnet for my full hand swatches here. My ring finger and my pinky are showing the polish unmagnetized. I had this one on for a couple hours after I did my full hand swatches, and I was really happy with how nicely the magnetic effect still looked on my nails after several hours. It was very easy to still see it there on the nail. My photo showed Devil's Ivy in 2 coats plus glossy top coat. Devil's Ivy was a little bit on the thicker side, but it was also very opaque. I was able to reach full opacity with this one in only 2 coats. Removal won't be overly difficult, but it will be messy thanks to that magnetic pigment. And we have another green now with Fields of Alysium, which the brand describes as a muted sage lacquer filled with a violet shimmer and micro holographic glitter. Much like most of the polishes in this release, this had a really good but also thicker formula. I think nearly all of the polishes in this release where the official description says it has a violet shimmer, I think this is the same shimmer in all of them. This shimmer is absolutely beautiful. It's super glowy, you don't get any brush strokes with it, but I think what I like the most about this polish is the almost prugly kind of base color.
This is disgusting. I like it though.
It is definitely a green, but it has like either gray or brown or possibly both of those colors added to it. It has a very ugly kind of vibe, which I definitely dig. Once again, we have a nice delicate twinkle of holographic glitter. Once again, the glitter is small enough that it's not going to give off a lot of texture, nor will it make removal overly difficult. And again, this is going to be another 2 to 3 coater depending on personal preference. My full hand swatches show Fields of Alysium in 3 coats plus glossy top coat. I've seen quite a few people saying that Garden of Evil and Fields of Alysium are way too similar. I feel like yes, they are similar in the sense that they are both 2 greens with the same shimmer as well as holographic, but I feel like the base colors are different enough that both give off different vibes. Garden of Evil is more bright and springy, and Fields of Alysium is more muted and like grungy, prugly kinda. And now we have Queen of the Dead, which the brand describes as a dark red thermal lacquer that transitions from a shade of deep wine red when cold to a shade of raspberry red when warm. I am really sorry for those of you who are a little squeamish, but I'm gonna get real morbid right now. This polish just makes me think blood. Like it looks like your fingers are bloody. And I fully recognize it's kind of weird, but that's where my mind went. Although I will say the actual color of this polish in both states is very berry leaning and not actual colors of blood, but that's where my mind went, okay? Queen of the Dead had a fantastic formula. The thermal was very reactive. I noticed on the Mooncat website that it said that this polish could take several hours for the colors to start changing. That was not my experience at all. I found it changed right away once I got it onto my nails. I have actually been wearing this one for several days now, and I find it's very, very reactive. Every time I look at my nails, they're a different color. When I had initially swatched this polish, I thought I had fantastic coverage for me in 2 coats. Since I've had this on for a couple of days, I have noticed that in the warm state, I do have a couple of dark spots on my nails, so I will call this one a 2 to 3 coater depending on personal preference. Also, Mooncat does warn that because this one is a thermal, it is on the thicker side. I generally find thermals to be on the thicker side in general, and I would agree that this is a little bit thicker than the other polishes in the release. I, however, still did not have any issues with application. I cannot speak on if this polish is a stainer. I have a strong feeling it just might be one. And the final polish in this release is called To All Who Ghosted Me, and the brand describes it as a dusty lilac lacquer filled with a blue shimmer. To All That Ghosted Me had a very similar formula to the other colors in this release, in the sense that the base was a little bit on the thicker side and did need to be built up. I did not have any issues with application. This applied very nicely and easily for me, even though it did have a thicker formula. This is another one that I'm going to call a 2 to 3 coater depending on personal preference. My full hand swatches do show this one in 3 coats, but overall coverage is fairly even in 2 coats. If you don't mind having visible nail line, or you don't have a nail line to speak of, this could be potentially a 2 coater on you. The shimmer is super glowy in this polish. It's by no means a color shifty shimmer, but it does pop really nicely from that grayed out purpley kind of base. I feel like if you are a seasonal polish wearer, that this would be a good transitional shade for like winter to spring. Nothing in here is going to dry down textured, and removal will be very easy. Hi, Sassy. Say hi. Say hi, Fluffernutter. Ooh, hi, Sassy. Okay, okay. Say hi. You're a good girl. Say bye, Fluffernutter. Alrighty, so final thoughts. When I initially saw reveals for this collection, I wasn't really sure how I was going to feel about it. There are so many greens and purples and a little bit of bronze in this release. I thought the color story was really, really pretty. I did not expect that I was going to like this as much as I did. I don't feel like any of the colors are colors that I historically, I guess we'll say, gravitate very strongly towards. But I feel like once I got them on my nails, I was like, yeah, I can dig these. I feel like we have a nice mixture of darker colors and also more vibranty spring-like colors. So I feel like this is also seasonally appropriate. I gotta say, I feel like much like a lot of you all, Mooncat's promotions for this release,
I like it a lot.
I am a simple girl. I see a release that is inspired by smut and I'm like, tell me more, tell me more. I've been really enjoying seeing some of the behind the scenes that Michelle has posted on her social media as well as the Mooncat one. I've just really liked seeing how this whole collection came to be. I thought that's a really cool touch that Mooncat does. Honestly wish more brands did it because I like knowing more about what specifically inspired each individual polish. So I really like that touch that Mooncat does with their releases, assuming you follow them on social media at least. I feel like the surprise favorite for me in this release is The Trouble with Immortality. I gotta say, I feel like that one looks a 1,000 times better in person than it does in any photo that I've seen. I haven't watched anyone else's videos on this release because I don't watch other people's videos on collections I want to review. So I don't know how it looked in video form, but I feel like in the photos that I've seen, like, it does not capture how beautiful it is. I almost wanted to call that one like reflective, but it's not reflective like reflective glitter or mirror-like, but the word that came to my mind was still reflective all the same. It's so beautiful. I can't remember where I saw it, but I feel like I remember seeing someone say that that polish reminded them of certain colors. Halcyon, Halicon, I don't know how to say it, but I'll put a picture here from Google on there. That polish is a rose gold. This one is a bronze, so like they're not the same color, but I feel like they have that same similar metallic-y kind of vibe. But I think my top pick from this release is going to be Garden of Evil. I just love that color so much. I thought it was fantastic. It was so beautiful. There's just something about a jelly green base, shifty shimmer, holographic that I will always just love. I would love to know what everyone else thought of this release. Have you already picked it up? Have you tried the polishes? I'd love to know what everyone's thoughts and opinions are on this release. I would also be very curious on if anyone else like really did like the promotional materials that Mooncat was releasing on their socials for this release. I feel like it was very spicy. And I don't know, I feel like as a spicy book lover, I like a little spice. I think it was nice. I think it was tastefully done as well. Like, it wasn't like X-rated material, but like it definitely had, you know, a little bit more spice than we typically see in a nail polish release. And again, I'm here for it. I think it's fun. As far as sale information goes, the Seasons of Persephone collection is available right now on the Mooncat website. This collection is not limited edition, so it should be around for a while. Each polish is priced at between $15 to $16 for 12 ml bottles, and there is a bundle listing up on the Mooncat website to give you a little bit of a discount, and if you buy all 9 polishes through that bundle listing, it brings you to $119. Again, this collection is not limited edition, so it should be around for quite a while. Before we end today's video, I want to give a very special shout out to my channel members, Shenanigans. Just thank you all so very much for your love and support. You guys are truly the best. Just thank you so very much. Your names, of course, are all on the screen right now. If you would like to sign up for my channel memberships, I have a link for that in the description box. But as always, please do not feel pressured to sign up for the channel memberships. Just, you know, just like the video, comment, share, subscribe, all of the things. And seriously, we're good. So just thank you all very much for watching today's video. Have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
When I get high, I ain't looking at the clock, still ballin' like Brian. Yeah, I'm headed to the Bucks, then I'm ballin' like yeah.